Hey, what's up everybody? This is Chris with the Dream, and in this video we're going to show you how to enhance your video when filming at home in just 5 easy steps. So with that being said, we're just going to hop right into it. Let's go. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is find the natural lighting. Find a natural light source in the room and face that direction. You want to face towards it. You don't want it behind you. You want to face towards the natural light of the room. That's the one and most important step that you use when actually filming at home. Other part of that, to kind of piggyback on that, make sure you're not sitting directly under a light. So if the light is directly above you, you do not want to be sitting right under the light because it will create shadows on your face that are unappealing and will not look good on camera. So make sure you are not standing directly under a light. Make sure your lighting sources actually match in color. The color spectrum can go from anywhere from, in the 2000s up to the 6000s, and in that range it goes from like yellowish or warmish color to a hyper white or a bluish color. So again, you might notice this in your room. Turn on the lights in your room and you'll see, like, more than likely they are a warmer light, usually with a room light. But again, you probably notice where there are hyper white lights and things like that. Those are different light styles. So if you're lighting your subject, you want to make sure those light styles are consistent. And again, there's no rule of thumb around this. Just make sure your light sources are consistent with the room. So if you're using studio lights, make sure your studio lights match your actual room lights if you're using your room lights. If your room lights do not match, then turn your room lights off and use solely your studio lights. But again, if you're using natural light, make sure you're matching that natural light. So it's going to be somewhat warm, around like 5200 Kelvin or something like that. But make sure you're matching that light. So with that being said, that's number one, lighting. Make sure you're getting the proper lighting for and using natural light for your actual video. All right, step number 2 is find a nice background. This is one thing that's super overlooked. Find a nice background that kind of tells about your video, or tells about your character, or tells about your subject. You want to even rearrange furniture just so it will be in your background. It's very, very important to use your background as a secondary element to enhance your video. A lot of supporting elements in your background will not only be visually interesting for your audience, but also enhance your messaging and gives clues to your character. And if you are proficient in that subject or whatever the case may be, but it gives clues to where you are in the world, and it gives your audience something to look at. Makes your video stand out that much better. So make sure you find a background, even if you have to rearrange some furniture. Find a background that works for your video and just shoot. Just like that. All right, step number 3, avoid rooms with the echo. We're gonna focus on sound. So you want to make some great sound. So if you have to use a lapel mic, if you have to use a boom mic, if you have to use a podcast mic or a microphone right in front of your face, make sure your audio quality is good. I can't emphasize this enough. Using your camera microphone isn't the best thing, and especially if you're in a room that has a lot of walls and you're getting a lot of echo, you want to keep that in mind when creating your video. If you have a room with a lot of echo, there are ways to reduce the echo by using blankets or foam on the walls or whatever the case may be. Figure that out for your actual space, and once you figure that out and have your audio set up, then you're really pretty 90% there. And I'm gonna say 90%, like 70% there as far as creating a great video. Audio is super important and one of those things that are easily overlooked. Step number 4, stabilization. Stabilization is also a key. Like, stabilization is simply as providing providing a tripod for your actual device, for your camera. Using a tripod for your camera, if it's for your phone camera or for your DSLR camera, but using a tripod to keep your shot stable. Can't overemphasize this enough. Like, you don't want a shot that's tilted to the left or to the right and then going back into composition. You want to also keep in mind that headspace. This is something that you'll notice now that I'm pointing this out, but I notice this all the time on social media, especially, podcasts, things like that. People are guest speakers or whatever, but their headspace they have a lot of headspace and it looks very unprofessional. So keep your video or your camera on a tripod, and then you can actually set up your headspace so when you talk you have the same exact placement of your composition. So using a tripod is one of those things that are easily overlooked by amateurs, but again, something that will save you in the long run when you're creating great video at home. Step number 5, dress the part. I mean, it really can't get any more clear than that. Dress the part, especially if you have a brand, if you're, have a business or things like that. Make sure you're wearing the merch or the merchandise of that actual brand. Make sure you're communicating, even in your clothing, communicating the message that you want your audience to receive. Again, this is something that is also overlooked. It's easy to, put on some designer brands and things like that, but you have to get in the mindset of your audience to try to condition them to understand like who your brand is, identifying your brand, identifying your logo, identifying the things that, make your brand stand out. So when they see your brand again, they can make that connection with the experience they had when they experienced your brand. So again, take the opportunity to dress the part. And even if it's not on branding, like you have your own merch or things like that, but even if you're like doing an interview or documentary style, dress the part, dress nice. It affects your mood. It affects your confidence on camera and things like that. So again, dress the part and show up ready to act, or ready to not act, but ready to, what's the word I'm looking for? Ready to perform. At the end of the day, it's a performance. All of it is a production. So you have to be ready to, produce what you are wanting to produce. So with that being said, that's step number 5. Dress the part. Just dress the part. All right, so that's it. Those are the 5 easy steps for filming at home. With these 5 easy steps, that's going to make your video stand out exponentially against any other videos on social media or anything like that. So if you want to learn more about tips and tricks just like this, make sure you join the Creator Academy at digitalrim.com. But more than anything, just be on the lookout for videos just like this. And if you are not even like getting notifications, I don't even know where have you been? Where have you been? Make sure you hit that bell, get notification, and like this video so other people can see, get content just like this for their actual video production. So with that being said, hey, all y'all have a blessed day. Later, y'all. Peace.